right, Diana, why don't you go ahead and tell us like what you would like to accomplish, what's going on, a little story, okay?
Okay. I don't know how to start with that. Should I start like 3 or 4 months ago?
That's fine.
I was just waking up with a lot of digestive problems. So I started going to, I work with a GI doctor. And so I told him, I'm like, I can't eat, and I'm having trouble with eating. He goes, what do you mean you can't eat? I said, I just can't eat. Every time I eat something, it just have a lot of abdominal pain and bloating. So then we did an EGD, which is a gastroscope down the stomach to look at the stomach. He did some small bowel biopsies, couldn't find anything. He's like, I think it's your gallbladder, Diana. We just need to do an ultrasound on that. So I did that. Nothing showed up with anything. And so I just started doing what I could do, is like fruit juices and vegetable juices, or just straight fruits and vegetables. I could eat those with no trouble. Started doing that and leaving off some of the other things, like if I eat a granola bar or nuts or anything heavy, it just hurt, and I'd have a lot of pain and bloating, abdominal stuff going on. So
Nuts and grains, or just the grains?
it was the nuts and anything that was like that at first. But now I can seem to be eating a little bit of almond butter or things like that. It doesn't hurt me.
Okay.
It feels like it fills me up, and I'm okay. But at first I couldn't. When this started happening, like the end of May, no, the end of April of this year. So when I started doing the fruits and vegetable juices and doing some, I went to General Nutrition Center and said, look, I cannot eat anything. I need something to help me with digestion. And so she said, these super digestive enzymes will help. So I got those and started taking 2 after every time I did try to eat, and that started helping a little bit. So as soon as I got on those, that helped some. But before that, it was like awful. And then doing the fruits and vegetable juices. But I was just having such bloating that I felt like, I was in a cancer patient or something in my stomach.
Okay.
And then I lost about 22 or 3 pounds in the last 3 months.
Okay.
Trying to deal with all this issue.
2 or 3 months, that's pretty good.
About 3 months. So that's 3 or 4 pounds a week.
Yeah, that's about 3 pounds a week.
That's not too bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was coming off too fast. I
Okay.
couldn't do anything about it, so.
And outside of the bloating, what else did you feel? Were you worn out, or?
I was fatigued, very tired all the time, and different things would happen. Like I'll have sore pains in my muscles, just like random. Sometimes be there, have bruising on my legs for no reason.
That's odd. Okay.
And then I'd have a mouth ulcer occasionally in my mouth.
Like a cold sore or a canker sore?
A canker sore inside my lips. Then last week at work, this inside my nose, there's this red spot that came up sore.
Now, did that happen before, like 2-3 months ago, or just
this
started?
is the first one.
Okay. Go on.
So it was sore, and I couldn't do anything about it, so I just started putting some like masks, the pill that, like I would do for my son if he's got acne and he's a teenager. And I couldn't get anything to happen with it. Finally, it came up to a top like last Sunday, just before I came here.
Okay.
It's getting better. But it took it about a week. I'm like, I've never had a nose sore inside. But I looked at like 4 out of 10. I've got this lupus, and it's alternative therapies. And there's 10 symptoms you have to have before they can diagnose lupus. And if you have 4, they should be able to do that. But I do have 4, but nobody's can diagnose lupus for me. They're like I've had the blood work that's like an ANA for lupus. And the rheumatologist said, if your ANA is good and your blood work looks perfect, Diana, you look really good on paper. So I don't know why you're feeling that way. So if your blood work looks good, you can put lupus to bed. It will not be lupus. But yet I have all the symptoms that are leaning toward that way.
So the things that you would be thinking that would be concerning you would possibly be lupus, candida, you said?
Yes.
And what was the third aspect? Wasn't there something else? Or those 2 it?
I think that's all.
Okay. And what would you like to accomplish?
What I like to accomplish?
Yeah.
Just to feel better and to be able to eat normal again.
You think you're probably on the right track before, right?
With now?
like the last few weeks, you feel like you were
It's slowly, gradually getting better.
Okay.
Yes, I think I'm on the right track.
Okay, and did you drink very much like vegetable juice or anything like that before coming?
Yes, I've been drinking a lot of beets and carrot juice.
I saw you brought a bunch of beets.
Celery, juicing, and then blending with my blender mangoes, dandelion,
Very good.
cilantro, some of those green juices, those things. Because at first that's all I could eat, and so if I got something like that in there, like those juices and those blended smoothies that were green smoothies, it didn't bother my stomach, and I could eat it. I could use it. My body could utilize it. So, yes, that started helping me to feel better.
Okay, but one last thing: the fruits don't cause any sort of flare-up, and the bananas don't cause. Like if you eat bananas, that doesn't cause any flare-up. No.
Not that I know of.
What about like honey?
I haven't been doing any sweet extra like that.
Okay.
No sugar.
So possibly the third thing may be some sort of gluten intolerance you were thinking.
At first, when I went to my family practitioner, I thought it was a gluten intolerance because it would hurt straight through the center of my stomach, right at your belly button, where they say, and when you look at the celiac symptoms, that would be one big symptom. And he gave me this checkoff list, and if you had over 20 for points, then it could be celiac. You could have a problem with gluten. Well, I totaled mine up with all the symptoms I was having. It was like 24.
Okay.
So then I'm like, Dr. Stewart, I think it's a gluten intolerance because I have all these symptoms with gluten. He's like, it still may be. The EGD test may not be definitive for gluten.
Okay.
So.
All right. So hopefully in the next week or two, we want to really start feeling better.
Right.
And that's the focus, regardless of anything.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to turn that off.